Everybody gets a little heartburn about that sometimes for Thanksgiving and Christmas. It can be stressful. You look forward to it, but then you have anxiety. Like, oh gosh, let's hope it's only for 3 or 4 days.
You know, if you look ahead, and
you want it to be good and fun and easy.
Of course, but you've got to realize it's your family. And if you know your family really well enough, you won't be so surprised about different personality conflicts that come up. So you got to internally prepare yourself, everybody, for that brother, that sister, that mother, that father, that grandparent, who you just know they're that particular way. And if you're okay with it and you accept it, you're going to have a much better time.
Why is it so hard for us to not be that 12-year-old kid? You know, you go through this old stuff, whatever, every family has some, and then you get around your family and you feel like stomping your feet and going, I didn't say that. Or
because you fall back into those old patterns. I mean, it's really funny. If you catch yourself sometimes, you'll actually be back home and you'll say mom or mommy or daddy. You fall back into those old roles because you have that family system in place. And it brings up all those things that you had earlier as a kid. So it comes back again. You're just older. But those things don't change. Those dynamics are still there. They're ongoing. They're not going to change, even if you become an adult.
Can you say there's a nice bed and breakfast right around the corner?
Well, it depends. No, and there's different ways. You plan ahead. If your family, if you can tolerate having your family in your home for a while, and you accept some of these things, oftentimes having them in the home is okay. However, if you know there's going to be a lot of conflict, somebody's going to overly drink, or they're going to get into old habits that you just know are going to not be so great for your kids, not a bad idea to suggest they stay someplace else and have them over all the time. But if you can tolerate it, you can also set some limits, and that's on our tips here. So.
Absolutely. And one of the things you were saying was get out of the house, make some activities so you can just go places.
You know that with everybody. Look, if you make some plans, San Diego's a great place. We've got so many different things to do, and it's cheap. You can go hiking, you can do all sorts of different things. Get people out, go do things, plan them. If you have to, put people up at a hotel. If you can keep it at home, just accept that there's going to be some conflict.
Divert. Avoid the hot topics that, you know, ruffle feathers.
Yeah, this is the big one. People always call me about grandparents making comments about how you parent. That always happens. Grandparents come in, why aren't you doing it this way? Why aren't you doing it that way? You know, kind of make a pact with who's ever coming in. Let's not talk about parenting. Let's talk about other things. Family rules, very important, because if you don't want your kids being spoiled by your grandparents, you have to tell everybody what your rules are that you have in your house.
My mother took my kids out for ice cream at 10:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
Last time she was here, I said, Mom, it's morning.
Right.
And she said, well, I'm the grandmother. I can do whatever I want.
Okay, and I've written about that. Grandparent stuff, you know, they do spoil, they should spoil, but they're not around all the time. So, you know, in moderation, it's okay. But if there's big things like, you know, no sugar after 10 o'clock at night, then, hey, make that a rule with who's ever there. It just keeps things kind of going on the track.
And then you can keep, you know, you were talking about the alcohol consumption. You got to worry, you got to check that.
Yeah.
But also keep the visit short if you need to. If you feel like the longer they're there, it's going to.
Yeah, the longer that people tend to stay with you, unless they're part of your ongoing family.
And some people, let's face it, have great relationships, no problem. But for others who are a little worried about it.
Yeah, and again, you know, extended stays can be too long. So again, breaks in the middle. Don't make them too long. If you've got a great relationship, you know, with people coming over, terrific. You know, go someplace and do things together and make it a little bit longer. But if you're like most families, you're going to want to keep it in a particular time frame, because also with that end point, you're like, okay, well, we've got like 2 or 3 more days. This is great, but hey. Make sure
then you have that great lasting impression until the following Christmas or, you know, Hanukkah or whatever it is.
Yeah, but you try to make it better each year. And again, by accepting things, look, don't try to change people. They're not going to change unless they really want to change. We always talk about that. So you accept it, work around it, work with them, and accept that you can have differences. That's okay too.
How'd you like this therapy session in
how about
4 minutes flat?
It's not bad, huh?
Good to see you as always.
You too. We'll see everybody next week.
Everybody's ready now for the
invite your
holidays.
families. It's a good thing. All right, we'll see you next week.
Well,